Welcome to the fastest daf in town. Today we Masechtas Sanhedrin daf Peiches. We are going to begin on Peiches Amud Aleph, the fourth line from the top. Divrei Elu Harochin V'Charomim V'Hakdeshos. So we've been learning that according to the Shita of Rabbi, the din is that you have to become a Zakin Mamre only if B'Zadayin, B'Mezid, you're a Chayev Kares. So, how do we see that in these cases? So, Arachin, when it comes to Erachin, B'Plutad Rameh Rabban, Ditnan, Hamarich Pachos B'Ben Chaydesh. Let's say you have a person who ends up saying, I want to give Erachin, but for less than a month. Now, the problem is that the Torah doesn't mention anything about someone under that age. So Rameir Oimer Noisin Damov, you still have to pay. Says Rashi, Kama Shehu Nimchar B'Shuk, how much you'd be sold in the marketplace. Diksaver Ein Adam Moitzi Devar V'Vatala, because a person would not end up speaking for no reason. Yodesh in Erech Pachas B'Men Chaydesh, he already knows that it's not shaykh to be able to give Erechin for anyone less than a month. So why did he say it? Must be he didn't say it for nothing. He did it l'shem damim, for the value. However, he said nothing. Let's say the treasurer comes, and takes a mashkain for the erchin. The Rameir have hektish. That mashkain is hektish. The ein ish miskadeshes boy, and therefore you cannot marry a woman with it. Ela im ken yodua boy. Kedenan hektish b'mezid kiddush v'shagol kiddush. If she knew about it, the Gemara says in Kedushin that it does work. Uraban and lohavi hektish v'hari hu shel bailim belongs to the baal. Kaddish was the ish. Do whatever he wants with it. V'achash a kiddush bo in kadeshes. Inami, and alternatively, Rameir havi hektish. Rameir holds that's hektish. V'anehenim menu maybe oshim ilois. And if you get hana, you have to bring a carbon asham. V'hari oiso asham kodesh kadashim. V'oichlo b'tumas gufoi chayv kares. And if someone would eat it while they're tamei, they'd be chayv kares. So it's the second answer. Question 8. So ketzan anafkamina l'kares b'hai plukta shehi zaken mamri neragbo al harasel rameir. So these are the two answers only in Rashi. Either regarding kedusha kesef, that the gizbar takes a mashkan, according to Rameir, it's not a kedushin. If it's b'shoigig, the Rabban holds a kedushin. Or if a person gets hana from these damim, according to the sheet of Rameir, you have to bring an ashim ilois. And if a person would eat it, but tumas a guf, you'd be chayv kares, and Rabban says you would not be moil. Okay, so that's a critical Rashi. All right, fine. Let's keep on moving. So that is the case of Erchin. Hachramim is put the Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira v'Rabbana ditnan. Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira Aimer stam charamim l'bedek habayis. When a person makes a cherem, so that means that is supposed to be designated to the bedek habayis, and therefore there could be din mi'il on it. Shnemer kol cherem kodesh kadashim hu la'Hashem. Chacham amrim stam charamim l'kayin. It's going to the kohanim, and therefore there's no din mi'il on them. Shnemer Kisnei hacherem l'kayin tiyeh achuzaso. So it goes to the kayin. So im kain mat. So again, the question is, if someone uses it, it can be is a makadosh woman with it. So it's the same nafkamina, which can be chayv kares. So im kain matam b'lemer kodesh kadashim hu Hashem. So why does it say hu Hashem? Shechal al kodesh kadashim, that you can make cherem on kodesh kadashim, v'al kadashim kalam as well as on kadashim kalam. Hakdeshos pabut to Rabbi Lezer ben Yankiv Rabban. The side of Rabbi Lezer ben Yankiv Aimer afilu sinayir shel hektish. Even when it comes to a small fork, which is made woven with gold of hektish shricha asar b'nei adam liftaisa. You still need 10 people who are kohanim. And this is explicit in the Torah, in the Psukim. Rashi says, "Im niftis b'pachas mi'asara b'nei adam." If you're redeemed with less than 10 people, adayin hektishi, it's still hektish. Umu'alan ba to be mo'oil, or rabbanan ein mu'alan ba. So that's the nafkamina again. Whether or not again can be paid less than 10. Ribois ze hashkai saita v'rifas hagoa v'atoras mitzayir. So hashkas saita, where's the din of kares by a sota? Beputer Rabbi Eliezer Rabbi Yeshua denan hamekana l'ishtoi. Well, a person gives warning to his wife, don't seclude with this particular man. Rabbi Eliezer Oimer mekanu al pi shnayim mashka al pi eid echad. That when it comes to the warning, it has to be done with two people. However, the actual process of when he goes to the in the Beis Hamikdash and he says, I saw that she was secluded, so we say that you only need to have one person at that point. So he says, even by himself. Rabbi Yeshua Aimer Makanu al Shnayim. You're true, when it comes to the warning, you have to have two people. However, also you have to have two witnesses then as well. So where would they measure from the mace to see which city is closest? Rabbi Eliezer Oimer mitiburai, from the navel. Rabbi Kiva Oimer mechaitmai, from the nose. Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov Oimer b'makam shenasachal mitzavarai, the place probably where he was killed, which is by the neck. So therefore, based on these different places, it's possible that a different city really should have been the proper one. So therefore, the egla rufa could be not an egla rufa or pumfa keret. And therefore, if a person can be mekanish, a woman with this item, which really could be nothing, or it could be an egla rufa, maybe it's not an egla rufa, that could have HSC repercussions. Taharis mitzar beputa Rav Shimon v'Rabbanan. Not ein loy boyhen yad boyhen regel. So or oizen yamanis. So let's say a person is lacking the right thumb or right big toe or the right ear lobe, so then you have nowhere to put the blood, and therefore he can never become tahara. Rabbi Eliezer Oimer Naisanu al Mikaima v'Yaitze. All you have to do is put it on the place where it would have been, and then he would be okay. Rabbi Shimon Oimer Naisan al Shel Smoil v'Yaitze. You could actually just put it on the left side, and it's good. So again, the question is whether or not this will work. Says Rashi, Noisin al Mekaima Makom haboyhin, Noisin dam ha'asham v'tarhu lechanas hamikdash. Therefore, he's allowed to enter into the Beis Hamikdash. V'oichel kodesh dahainus done a karis. So obviously, this is a karis situation, whether or not you hold he can do this or not. Okay, so that is the advice. Put on the left one. So then it says Bisharecha zeleket shechu peya. So leket ditnan shnei shavalim leket. If you have two sheaves, that is considered to be leket, and therefore it has to be left for the aniyim. Shloisha enu leket, and therefore 3 is not considered to be leket, and therefore it's not considered to be hefker. So the question, is it hefker or is it not hefker? So therefore, if a person was mekadesh, a woman with this money, is it his money or it's not his money? He can't be mekadesh with gezel. Shicha, when it comes to forgetting something in the field, so shnei amarim shicha, shloisha enu shicha. So again, 2 is not shicha, 2 is shicha, and 3 is. 3 is not shicha. So therefore, again, whether or not it's considered to be, maybe you disagree with this, and therefore it would be a question if a person was mekadesh a woman with this. Yakulan beishami oimim shalosh la'aniye va'arba l'bal habayis. He says for all of them, 3 for the poor and 4 for the bal habayis. So fine. It says Rashi Sefer Yoel Lamikrai beParsha Shicha v'im chalakta zakin mamre v'yomer av shloisha shicha, even 3 is shicha. So again, there's a question: is it gezel or is not? Okay, fine. Peya beputa the Rav Shimon Rabban ditnan mitzvahs peya. The mitzvah of leaving over the corners is l'hafresh min hakama. It should be done at a time where you have the standing grain. L'hafresh min hakama yafresh min amorim. If it wasn't at the standing grain, you can even in its piles. L'hafresh min amorim yafresh min akri. In its stalk, you can also do it in its pile. Ad shel mircho, until the winnowing. Mircho ma'is v'naisin lo. Once you've actually got to this stage, so you're ma'is v'naisin lo, and that's it. There's no more. You're going to be. There's no longer a din of of a chi of peya. And Rashi says, lecha shega peya patur min a meiser. Okay, fine. And then he says, Mishum Rabbi Shmuel Omer mafresh min ha'isa, even though it's dough. Im tochna v'losha, says Rashi, if you ground it up and kneaded it, Tanakama tochna potter, according to the Tanakama, once you ground it up, your potter, the kanya b'shinoi, because you already did something different. The im ba'ani v'notol k'nei peya, if a guy took this peya from that time, so Rabbi Shmuel will have a gezel, or Rabbanan have a gezel. The question is, did they have a right to take it at that stage? Okay. Then the Gemara continues, Gimel bati dinim v'chu. So the Zaken Mamre encounters 3 different courts, and they all were in the Beis HaMikdash in different locations. So Rav Kahana, who oimer, if the Zaken Mamre says mepi hashemua, that he learned it al pi kabole, v'hein oimer mepi hashemua, and the Beis Din says the same thing. No, it's on even keel. Eno nerag, he's not going to be killed because he's not saying something which is any less with any less weight than the Sanhedrin. Hu omer kachu be'enai v'hein omer kachu be'enenu eno nerag. And if both of them are their own interpretations, this is what I think, this is what I think, you're also not killed because it's even. The kol shekain hu omer mepi hashemua v'hein omer kachu be'enenu eno nerag. Certainly in the situation where he actually has some Kabbalah, some source, and they're just interpretive, then certainly he's not going to be killed in that situation. So when will he be killed? Ad shi'omer kachu be'enai v'hein omer mepi hashemua, where he just is interpreting based on his own understanding, and they say, no, Taka, this is our Kabbalah. At that point, he will be killed. V'hein omer mepi hashemua. Teda. Sharilu hargo as a kavim min mahalel. We say that a kavim min mahalel, says Rashi, nechel chachamim belishkas agazis, b'dal devar mistaknas edius. He actually argues with them. Shahay oimer livnoi. He said to his son b'shas misasai, chazer bach b'dal devarim. I retract with these 4 things. Shahisa oimer, that I said, armulu abba, dad, b'yatam b'bnei malu chazart behem. Why don't you retract? Armulu ani shemaiti mipi hamarubim. I heard it from many. The Haim Shemim Pei Hamarum, so did they. Haim Omdu B'Shemaisin V'Aniamati B'Shemaiti El Wamash Shemim Pei Yachid V'Chu. So basically, what he's saying is that Kavim and Mahalel wasn't killed, even though he seemed like, on some level, acting like a Zaken Mamre, but he was allowed to say it because he was on the same level. His arguments were based on the same logic as the Sanhedrin. We always kill him. We don't want this people to start being marred by machlokes. So kavim mahal should have been killed. Because even if it's true that would have killed him, but you also have to be more hara. You actually have to say to teach it and say this is how you're supposed to do. And he didn't do that. He just said he was chaylik, but he didn't go out and start preaching this is what needs to be done. So that's the nafkamina. Tanan, kach darashti v'kach darshu chaverai, kach lomadati v'kach lomdu chaverai. So he's basically, this is what I learned, this is what my friends learned. So my love. So apparently it makes no difference. So probably he said that this is Mipia Shmua, and he's still going to be Chayv Misa. So Gemara says, well, maybe only in this case, Hu Oimer Kach, Hu Be'enai, Be'emer Mipia Shmua. Maybe only in the situation where he says Be'enai and they say Mipia Shmua. So again, it's not necessarily that we're always going to kill him. So even though, so the Machlokes still stands. So let's look at question 9. Madul nuschay v'kamen mahalel misal shenechel chal chacham b'lishchas l'kos b'dal dvarim. So either according to one man omer shein neragad shirmer kachu be'ena v'hem omer piyah shmua, and that's how it happened in the case of kamen mahalel. Or Madi Omer says he was now moira halacha b'rab, and therefore because of that he's not held accountable, which is the exact same question as TB8. Same question. So let's just mark this down, TB8, and let's see what I wrote. Eino chayev ad hazakin mamre ad shazakin mamre. Probably should just ad shazakin mamre yomer kach be'ena v'hem medivrei shamua. Rabbi seinu shalahem v'zeh lo hadugma be'kavi ben mahalel. Or eino chayev ad shehu paisik davar pasuk davar lamaisa v'hu lo mora hayra lamaisa. Okay. All right, weiter. That's question 8. Okay, I need to staple this. Okay, we'll get to that eventually. Let's keep going. Tashma. Haimer Rabbi Yeshaya shloish devarim sachli zeira me'anchi Yerushalayim. There's 3 things that Zeira said to me from the Anchi Yerushalayim. One is Baal shemoichal kinui mochel. That if you have a husband who said when he warned his wife, do not lock yourself up with this man, and then if she does lock herself up, he's Michael, so she's not going to be usher to him. He can just say, all right, whatever, just get over it. As we tend to pay Chesed Beis, Ben Sar Meir Shiratzu Ava V'Imo Shemocha Loi Moichan Loi. Also, when it comes to Ben Sar Meir, even though technically you could sentence him to death, but a father, mother can be moichel. As Rashi says, shakosuv tolo behem v'tafsu boy. The parents' choice, they can grab hold onto him, which the Bible says they're not typhus, then he's not going to be killed. Zakin mamri shorotz beis dino elimcho bo moichel. Also by the beis din can be moichel. Ukshabasi etzel chaverai. When I came to chaver shebadarim, they said al shtayim hoideli. When it comes to the case of the person who is the husband who's moich on his wife, or the parent who's moich on his son, that we will agree with. However, al zakin mamri loy haydalay, I don't agree to that. Kadeshal yirba machloikas b'Yisrael. So tiyavta. So again, we have the same language. Says Rashi, medetali taima b'delo rabba machlokas shemamina afilu hu oimrim b'piyah shemua v'hin oimrim kachu beinenu. Okay. Again, maybe it's not really a tiyavta. Maybe it is a shtickle tiyavta. It is a tiyavta, but maybe again you can taina that no kadeshal yirba machlokas Israel means that for that you can't be moichel. However, maybe it's only in this case. Only in the case, as we said before. Okay, question 10. Baal shemoichal kinuye ben tsar shemochal aviv zakin shemochal aloyel beis dino hi machil chilas machil. So the husband can be moichel. Ben Sarah, the parents can be moichel. But zakin mamri, that we have as a machlokus. Okay, weiter. Tanya, Rabbi Yosi. Initially, there wasn't a lot of machlokas. El based in Shilshim ve'echad Yoshim Lishkas Hagazos. He had one tribunal of 71 sitting in the Lishkas Hagazos. V'shnei bati dinim shel arbaim esrim mishloish. It was 2 courts of 23. Echad Yoshim Pesach Harbayis. Echad Yoshim Pesach Hazara. V'shar bati dinim shel esrim mishloish Yoshim b'chol Yeros Yisrael. The other 23 were sitting in all other different cities in Israel. Hutzur chadavar, when the matter needed to become more, lishol shoalim based in shibi'ira, and people would go and ask the people in the city questions. Im shamu, if they knew what the case was, they would say, V'yama boyin lazeh shesamuch ha'ira, and they would go to the people, the ones which is close to the city. Im shamu amar muhem. If they knew what the answer was, they would say, they go to the Pesach Harbayis. Which is what this Zakim Amri says. So if the courts knew what to paskin, they would say, then they would go to the Sanhedrin. They were there from the beginning Talmud until the middle after the afternoon one. It was Shabbos and on Shabbos and Yom Tov they would sit b'chayil in ranks. Nishalu she'el b'fnei. They would ask a question. Im shamor mohem im lav. I'm the minyan. They would stand up. They would create a count. Ravu ha-metamin tamu. Ravu ha-metahayirin tiharu. So if the majority say tameh, tahar, tahar. So the Meiri says that this is the general psak. But the Zakin Mamri, every member of the Sanhedrin has to disagree. This is not talking about a case of Zakin Mamri. Okay. Misharavu Talmidi Shama v'Hillel, when there was a lot of students of Shama and Hillel, Shimshu Kol Tzarchan, and they didn't really get serve Shama and Hillel so well, which is what therefore caused one of the machlokes of Yisrael. The Nasis Taira Kishtei Titus. It looked like two Torahs. Yisham Kaisvin v'Sholchen b'Chol Mekaimos. They sent out the Kol Mishu hu Chacham, and who's wise. V'Shalva Berech, and who's humble by bending the knees. V'Das Aburias Neicheman, and people like him. He dayin be'iro. He should be a judge in your city. Mishom Mal Noisel Harbayis, Mishom Lazar, Mishom Lishkas Agazas. Sholchu mitam, who sent from there. Ezehu ben Olam Haba, who is someone who is destined to the world to come. Avanasan v'Shafal Berach, again, someone who's humble and has their knees are bent. Shayef Ayil Shayef Anafik, they bend when they go in, bend when they go out. Vigoris Meraisa Tedira, and they constantly are learning Torah. V'Maksek Tivu Solanashe, but they don't take credit for themselves. Yomi Rabbanan Einaihu B'Rav Oylabar Abba, so they cast their eyes toward him, thinking that he was someone that really fits the bill. Chazul Ir B'Shana. He goes back to the city and teaches it. Tzadaban Eno Chayev. The Zakin Mamre is only Chayev Ad Shiyase Karasai, where he himself does as he says. O Shiar Lacherim, or he does he paskins for others. The Yasu Karaso, and they do as he says. So Bishlam Yor Lacherim, I can understand he passed for other people. V'yas Karaso, and they did Mikara La Barkatolhu V'Hashna Barkatolhu. Originally he wasn't to be killed, now he is. El Shiasa Karaso Mikara Nami Barkatolhu. Understand, when he's doing what he says, he's chayiv anyway for doing an avera. So Hatinoch Heicha De'oiri B'Cheil V'Dam. I can understand we're talking about eating blood and fats. Demiyakara La Barkatolhu V'Hashna Barkatolhu. Elaheicha De'oiri B'Chayvi Misas based in Mikara Nami Barkatolhu. He's always a Barkatolhu. So Mikara boy Hasra, Hashda Lo boy Hasra. He needed Hasra, now he doesn't. So Mesis, the little boy Hasra Ma'akamim. Or we said the Mesis is the one that you don't need. He gets people to be over the Zara. Using this Lashon is a form of a Mesis. So Mikara Iomer Taima Mikablin and Mine. If originally he reasons why he's doing it, Mikablin Mine, we accept it. Hashda Iomer Taima Lo Mikablin Mine. Now we will not accept it. Unless the Ben Yoyada says that everyone in Ben Israel is really has a chilchom haba, but you might lose it. This is the formula to maintain it. That's how the Ben Yoyada explains. Okay, question 11. Eilu harugi basin srichen hachraza. I'm not sure why I wrote 11. That doesn't seem correct. Okay, let's keep on going. Okay, let's see the next. Okay, let's keep going. Let's see the next Mishnah. It says the Masnis. It says the Mishnah. Chaymer medivri taifim medivri Torah. In a certain way, Divri Seifrim is more strict than Torah. However, a person says, ain't tefillin. There's no such thing as tefillin, which is, of course, min Torah. Kidei lavar al Divri Torah potter. Because this is just outlandish. However, Chamish Tatofos Lohaisa Divri Seifrim Chayiv. If he ends up adding, saying, oh, there's really 5 compartments of the tefillin, which is Divri Seifrim or Chazal, so he's going to be Chayiv. And Rashi brings down, because it says Totafos without a Vav, Totafos with a Vav. So since it says at those times, sometimes with without a Vav, so it equals 4. That's why it's 4 compartments. Says the Gemara, Omer B'Lezo, Omer Rav Aisha, Inu Chayiv, El al davar sheikara midivri Torah uperush midivri seifrim. It's only something which is based on the Torah, but it's expounded upon and explained by the divrei seifrim. The yeshbol haisif, there's what to add. V'im haisif gareya, but if you add, it makes it worse. So we see from here less is more. The ein lanu el tefillin elibed Rabbi Yehuda. So tefillin is what makes sense, because instead of 4, you can be moisif to 5. I have ika lulav, the ikara medivri Torah, perush medivri seifrim, the yeshbol haisiv, im haisiv garua. It's the same thing. If you want to add a 5th min on. So he said no, but lulav by spherule. Ik spherule on the lulav ein sarach heged. If you don't need to attach it, hailachudi koi v'hailachudi koi. It's not garua anything because it's they're not connected. B'spherule the sarach heged. If it does need to be attached, then garua v'oimedhu. Then it never had it, so it never had it anyway. Avikat sitzis the ikarai medivri Torah perush medivri seifrim v'yeshbol haisiv im haisiv garua but sitzis. So maybe you're going to add a 5th corner. So my spherulon spherulon the kesher elyon lav deraisa, that the first tie is the knot is not deraisa. So therefore hailuchudi koi v'hailuchudi koi. The spherulon, if you hold as we continue to pay testament aleph, the kesher elyon deraisa garuva oimed. Yahachi tefillin nami. You can say the same thing by tefillin. If you had 4, and add a 5th one, v'anach kavayu hayluchudi koi v'hayluchudi koi. V'avid chamisha. But if you made 5, garu v'oimedhu. So Rav Zera bayis chitzon she'enu roya es ha'avir posel. So if you can't see the tefillin, it's posel. So basically, I made 4, then I added a 5th, but outside of the tefillin must be seen. This 5th cannot be seen, so it is posel. Okay, we're going to stop there, but maybe we have another question. Okay, I don't think there's any questions on this stuff. Let's see, question 7. Nope. Question TB. That's about Hachraza. Okay, Adkan.